One of the most beloved figures in wrestling history. I mean, you go back to the old school days that I grew up on with, Saturdays at 6:05 on TBS. I mean, he
Right.
was just a staple. Well, when did you first meet Arn? Would that have been in Mid South very early in his career?
Yeah, I think Cowboy got Arn early on, and that was he appeared on Mid South TV. I seen online some old Mid South tapes, and where he looks the same then as he did that today as he did then. It seems to me like, but Cowboy had a lot of confidence and believed that Arn was going to be a player, and Cowboy was right. Arn Anderson was a damn sure player.
We got to talk a little bit about your first introduction to him. Would you have seen him as a part of the tag team with Matt Bourne or with Ole Anderson, or did you see him as a singles first?
Cowboy, because he was a rookie, put him in a lot of tags.
Mm-hmm.
So a tag, I would say that first time I saw him, he was working in a tag. He got it. He knew what the hell's going on, and I always admired his work. He was crisp. He was fundamentally sound. He did logical things. He was a straightforward, ground and pound kind of guy, just like we saw him all through his career. But he was a prodigy as a kid, and he worked somewhere. Maybe it was Pensacola in the very very beginning. Somebody got him he got booked there. I know he did indies around Rome, Georgia, where he's from, and that may have been where somebody saw him and then called Bill. That happened a lot in the territory days. You'd get a phone call from somebody, and he'd ask them to send a tape in. A lot of times I looked at the tapes with him, which helped my education. So then he brought Arn in, and I think it was from Pensacola, and he had a nice little run there in uh, Oklahoma, and then he transferred. I think Cowboy and Ole Anderson talked about him, and Ole liked the hell out of him and made him an Anderson. So it isn't amazing how Arn and his son have a striking resemblance.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
It is. But Ole liked him as an Anderson, and that was a big, big break for Arn because Marty Lundy, his real name, nothing wrong with that. Wasn't going to sell. There's a picture of him. Those are the shots I remember. Those are the ones that I remember in this era. He had more hair. Uh, he looked good. He trained hard. Look at his upper body. Uh, Now, who in the hell is that?
That's Jerry Stubbs. I wanted to ask
Jer-
you about him, Mr. Olympia, Jerry
yeah,
Stubbs, a territory guy. Are you familiar with his game at all?
yeah, yeah. He was good. I think we brought him in for a run under a hood
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and a mask, and he looked good, and he was a nice guy. He did a good job. I bet you those are, what's that say, South?
Southeastern. This is the old Fuller territory, Alabama territory.
Okay, Arn and Jerry. That's a good looking team.
It is a good looking team, and of course he teams with Matt Bourne, and then he teams with Jerry Stubbs, and then eventually we know he's going to find success teaming with Ole Anderson. But I think like a lot of wrestlers in that era, as Crockett is trying to grow and compete, if you will, and become sort of the flag bearer for the NWA.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, as the touring NWA champion, almost served like a talent scout at times, right, Jim?
Oh yeah. Well, he was just looking for opponents. Rick would, all those guys were that way, that traveled around. They're always looking for like the NWA champion, for example, and the primary example. Uh, but Rick got a chance to watch a lot of the guys work, and that was pre discovery for Arn. And he got Ole gave him a name and the whole 9 yards. Ole was smart, boy. He really was. He could be a prick, God bless him, but such a he was a brainiac, and he and Cowboy talked a lot. A lot of those big Omni cards were booked by Ole and seconded by Bill Watts, unknown to the public. So they go with the cards and talk about the finishes and what's next, and what we're doing the next time we're in the Omni and all that stuff. Cowboy was big on that, big on having a card booked. If we were in New Orleans tonight on Thursday, he would have the card booked for the next Thursday, which sounds logical. And why not? Well, you'd be surprised at how many bookers are lazy and didn't even have the next card filled out. And because if you don't have it filled out, you don't know how are you going to maximize that card that's not in a week or month by what you do tonight. So you had to plan and keep ahead of the game. And Cowboy and Ole were a great pair. They just butted heads all the time. And, Cowboy, Ole bullied a lot of people and kind of, with his presence, he's a tough guy with his presence and so forth, but he didn't bully the Cowboy. There was a mutual respect there, and they got along fine in public, if you will. But they had their headbutting sessions. I've heard a bunch of them with Ole on the speakerphone and Cowboy talking. Man, I wish I could remember all that stuff better, because that was such an important time in my career, because I got exposed to different situations. And Bill just, it seemed like Cowboy just liked to have a backup, somebody there. And I took notes and things of that nature, but it helped my education immensely. How he talked to people and how he wasn't always a brute, a bully. Ole liked to be. Cowboy didn't want to engage more often than not in the drama, Conrad. But I learned so much that nobody else in the business could ever could have. To be honest with you, I should be successful in my career, and I have been for 50 years, and largely because of the philosophies I learned from the Cowboy and how to manage talent and organize and things of that nature.
We should spend a little bit of time talking about the relationship with Ole and Arn. I know that, in real life, these guys are not related, but what's the official story, as best you can recall, on what their kayfabe relationship was? Are they cousins?
I think they were cousins. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think they were cousins. They had a resemblance, a physical resemblance, as we saw and we've seen, thanks to our man Bull. That's good booking. It's ironic that it happened. It's ironic you find a guy that looks like he could be possibly a family member. And Ole liked him. He was solid. He's fundamentally sound. His work looked great. Arn got. I don't know who broke Arn in. Somebody there in his home area, I'm sure, obviously. And it was somebody. It wasn't. I don't know if it was a wrestling school. I don't think it was at that period of time. Boy, he was fundamentally sound. God damn, he was good.